I do without the support of this club and other clubs like it. I didn't think, well, I wanted to be chairman of the Judiciary Committee for a long time. And I got my wish. I didn't think that that would occur at a time when we had to defend the very fundamentals of our democracy. The idea of checks and balances, the idea that the president is not a king, the idea that he is answerable to the people and to the Congress, the idea that the Congress has to keep the administration, any administration, accountable, the idea that there are checks and balances. All of this is under attack now. We are facing the most fundamental attack on civil liberties, the rule of law, the separation of powers, since the Civil War. I'm not going to compare it to the Civil War because that was worse, but it is the most fundamental attack since then. And one of the two major political parties in the United States today has apparently decided to play dead and to go along with anything. So it falls to us entirely to defend the democratic system, to defend civil liberties, the right to vote, civil rights, everything. And we're doing it. And we have to do it. And it's not an easy struggle because we face an adversary, a president, who thinks nothing of lying, who probably doesn't even know the difference when he's lying, who is not only malevolent toward the Constitution, but ignorant of it. Ignorant of just about everything. But we have to wage this fight. And they're going to play with us. They're going to oppose us in court on things that there's no grounds for whatsoever. But they want to waste the time in court. And we're going to have to deal with that.
You got it.
There is no thank God, I hate to think where this country would be if we hadn't won a Democratic majority in the House last November. It gives us the institutional basis from which to mount the defense. And thank you all for all the work you did, not in my district, which is a pretty safe Democratic district, but in getting support in other districts where it really made a difference. And next year's election is going to be crucial, to put it mildly. I don't know, I'm going to be very blunt, I don't know whether we're going to impeach this president or not. I do know that in all likelihood he's not going to be removed from office by that impeachment because you have a Senate, we need 20 Republican senators, and barring unforeseen changes, they're not going to budge no matter what the evidence, no matter. But we have to remove him from office. We have to change it because of all the attacks on the democratic system, because of all the attacks on our rights, because of all the attacks on voting, all the racism that he's spewing forth, the hatred, the xenophobia. But also because someone wrote a column, I wish I had clipped it, I wish I remembered who wrote it. But he said the following, this is last week. He said, you know, politics in the United States, in democratic countries, usually zigzags. He says, the Democrats win, you zig a little to the left. The Republicans win, you zig a little to the right. But all election victories are temporary because there's always another election.
We hope.
Until now. He says Trump's re-election might be permanent, in the sense of making permanent changes that are irreversible. And he lists two. One is climate change. We are facing the possibility of not just enormous and unprecedented, but an catastrophe beyond imagining. The climate people tell us that we must hold the temperature increase to 1.5 degrees or less. If we don't, the polar ice caps will melt, the permafrost will melt, and yield up all the methane, will set up a positive feedback loop. Had we started reducing carbon emissions 2 years ago, it would have taken an annual reduction of 2% to keep it below 1.5 degrees. But we have an ignoramus as president who doesn't believe in the science, and he's stopping us from doing this. He's going the other direction. if we defeat him in 2020, and we start a program of carbon reduction in 2021, it will take us 5% annually. If he's re-elected for 4 years and we don't start the carbon reductions until 2025, it will take 9% annually, which is probably an unattainable number. And if you can't meet that number, it could mean incredible catastrophe for civilization. So that's problem number one that may be irreversible. Problem number two that may be irreversible is that without a heck of a lot of comment, he is withdrawing us from all the arms treaties that were signed with the Soviet Union and that are designed to reduce nuclear weapons and to reduce nuclear proliferation.
It's a traitor.
We had something like 60,000 nuclear warheads in the U.S. Armory and 40,000 or 30,000 in the Soviet Armory, and now they're down to about 2,000 apiece. We're going to start reversing that. We're going to have a nuclear arms race. We're going to go back to 30, 40,000 nuclear warheads because. And you start having nuclear proliferation, so you get the Saudis and the Iranians and a dozen other countries, and that becomes increasingly unstable. So you run the real risk of nuclear cataclysm. So it's very hard to say that an election is of cataclysmic proportions, but it is. And we have to remove him, and we have to do the work, and we have to do it now, and we have to do it in a way that preserves our civil rights and civil liberties and the right to vote and all of it, and that we will continue to do, and that's our job, and we'll do it. And all of your help is essential, and I thank you for putting me in a position, helping put me in a position where I can have an important role in this. Thank you.